they didn't just conquer music, they quietly built an empire that reaches into tech, fashion, real estate, and even global politics. But here's the twist. The Carter-Knowles family, Beyoncé and Jay-Z, didn't set out to own America in the traditional sense. They learned how to influence it. And by the end of this video, you'll understand how the richest Black celebrity family turned cultural power into real-world control. When people talk about wealth in America, they usually point to the Musks, the Bezoses, the Trumps. But there's a quieter form of power, cultural capital, and no one has mastered it like Jay-Z and Beyoncé. From Brooklyn's Marcy Projects to a $2.5 billion combined fortune, the Carters built something no family in entertainment has ever achieved: generational influence that crosses industries, class, and even government doors. But here's the thing, their story isn't really about money. It's about positioning. Because what the Carters built wasn't just wealth, it was ownership. Ownership of their image, their masters, their business, and most importantly, their narrative. Before Beyoncé was the queen, there was the hustler who refused to let record labels define him. Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, couldn't get a deal in the 90s, so he made one himself. He founded Rockefeller Records, sold CDs out of his car, and turned no label into own the label. That move changed music forever. It wasn't just independence, it was the seed of economic rebellion. By 2003, when he sold his stake to Def Jam, Jay-Z had built a brand worth millions, then used that cash to buy Rocawear, Douce, Armand de Brignac, and eventually a piece of Tidal, the streaming platform designed to pay artists more fairly. And that's the first rule in the Carter playbook: turn rejection into infrastructure. While Jay-Z was redefining rap as a business, Beyoncé was mastering the art of cultural control. She didn't just sing, she studied the system. When Destiny's Child ended, she built Parkwood Entertainment, a company that produces her music, films, and even clothing lines. So every Beyoncé album, documentary, and tour isn't just art, it's an asset. She doesn't depend on Hollywood or labels to tell her story. She licenses her art to them. That's why every release, from Lemonade to Renaissance, feels cinematic, controlled, and unapologetically hers. And remember this, Parkwood isn't a vanity label. It's a production studio, management agency, and digital brand powerhouse. While others chase fame, Beyoncé builds equity. When Jay and Bey married in 2008, it wasn't just a love story. It was a merger of empires. Together, they created a unified brand that blended Wall Street discipline with street-level influence. Their joint tours became global cash machines, bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars per year. But behind the lights, they were investing quietly in startups, art, and tech. Jay-Z's venture firm, Marcy Venture Partners, now funds everything from vegan food companies to blockchain startups. And Beyoncé's investments in brands like WTRMLN Water and her collaboration with Adidas show she's not just endorsing products, she's shaping markets. But here's the real secret. The Carters stopped playing the celebrity game a long time ago. They started playing the institutional one. Think about this. When Barack Obama ran for president, Jay-Z wasn't just a performer at rallies. He was a symbol of cultural legitimacy. Beyoncé sang at his inauguration. Jay-Z later joined criminal justice reform meetings at the White House. Their names became shorthand for Black excellence with access. Through philanthropy and influence, they helped fund scholarships, criminal justice initiatives, and relief programs, all under the radar of typical celebrity charity. They turned their brand into soft power. When Jay-Z's Roc Nation partnered with the NFL after the Colin Kaepernick controversy, many critics called it a sellout move. But look closer. That deal gave them control over Super Bowl halftime shows, arguably the biggest entertainment stage in America. That's not selling out. That's more like buying in. Let's break it down. Real estate. From a $90 million Bel Air mansion to New York penthouses, the Carters own prime property across America. Art collection. They reportedly own over $100 million in modern art, including Basquiat pieces that appreciate faster than most stocks. Music royalties. They control their masters, which means every stream, every sync, every sample adds to their legacy. Business ventures. Jay-Z sold part of Armand de Brignac and Tidal for a combined $500 million, yet kept equity. Every move follows the same pattern: create, control, cash out, but keep a piece. In a world where Black wealth is often first generation and fragile, the Carters are writing a different story. They've built a family office, not a publicity tour, one that manages investments, philanthropy, and media under the Carter-Knowles umbrella. Their children, Blue Ivy, Rumi, and Sir, are growing up in a household where art, business, and culture blend seamlessly. Blue Ivy already holds songwriting credits and performance royalties. That's generational wealth in action, not inheritance, participation. So when people call them the richest Black celebrity family, it's not just about the Forbes list, it's about the model they created, one that turns creativity into equity and fame into power. Here's what's genius. The Carters didn't beat America's system, they learned how to own it from within. Jay-Z bought into the very institutions that once shut him out. Beyoncé redefined what it means to be a global pop icon without losing cultural authenticity. Together, they proved that influence, when paired with ownership, is the ultimate power in America. Their story is less about celebrity and more about strategy, less about music and more about message, less about how much they made and more about what they changed. So how did the richest Black celebrity family come to own America? Not through privilege, not through inheritance, but through vision. They understood that culture is the new currency, and they minted it themselves. The Carter-Knowles family didn't just make history, they built an economy around it. If that isn't the definition of ownership, then what is?